Prophetess Kebile, 7750 Media. I am now on notes made on the 26th of October 2024. And the same was the 24th of Tishri, 5784. There's a lot of noise that is coming from across the street at number 40. And it is really testing my nerves. So you do know that the number 40 is all about elongated testing. Well, they've been renovating their house for the longest time, and the noise starts from like 7 o'clock in the morning, and it goes on right up until about 5 in the early evening. So you can imagine, and it's been going on for months. But anyway, last night, my friend Zo Masego came to my house for dinner. It was such a beautiful and sacred time of prayerful and insightful conversation, as well as a celebration of friendship and sisterhood. Zoe was talking about how Sia and Rachel Kolisi, as a couple, had become a national asset and a treasure in South Africa. A treasure in Zulu is called igugu. And so that's the meaning of the name Gugu. My younger daughter has a friend called Gugu Zulu, literally meaning the treasure of heaven. Matthew chapter 6, verse 20 says, "But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moths and vermin do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal." At 30 minutes past 1500 hours, I decided to have a lazy day. Meaning that I was just having a lazy day. And so, though I was up early as usual, I just gave myself an easy time. I saw my daughter and her friends off as they set out for a friend's birthday party and activities. I then tried to read sections and snippets of Sia Kolisi's autobiography titled Rise. I see that he called it Rise because it is the English meaning of his mother's name, Pagama. I hear the voices of Swisongwane and Benjamin Dube simultaneously rendering the song Pagama Nkosi Yezulu, Rise, O King of Heaven. Psalm 68 verse 1 says, "May the true God rise up and show himself. May those who are united against him be dispersed, while the people who hate him run away at the sight of him." I don't really have time to read the whole autobiography, at least not at this stage. But its title, Rise, was a trigger. And so I bought it for that reason. There's a lot of passion and emotion poured into that book. So the little of it that I have managed to read has made me quite emotional. Siyamthanda, that being Sia's full name, is 33 years old. And just as his name says, we love him. My friendship with Zo Masego is just as old as Sia is, and that is 33 years old, since we met 33 years ago. Jeremy Daniel has written an unauthorized biography on Sia Kolisi titled Against All Odds. About this biography, it says on Amazon, his life has not been without controversy, and his marriage to a fiery young white woman was a lightning rod of racial politics. But he is a shining beacon of hope for South Africa. He is massively popular, and there is a huge appetite from the public to know about his life and support him as Springbok captain. I'm quite impressed with the publishing industry that has sprung up around him. There's no doubt that Sia Kolisi is both a warrior and a hero indeed. When I searched for the trigger of that Pagama gospel song. I find it in a diary note titled The Russian Bear from the 13th of September 2017. It is mentioned with the act of raising an altar unto the Lord, and an altar is defined as a raised place on which sacrifices and gifts are offered in some religions, and a platform or a table used as a center of worship in Christian ceremonies and services. In that narrative, I also examine the consequences of the violation, disgracing, and humbling of Jacob's daughter called Dinah. Two of Dinah's brothers decided to take revenge for the rape of their sister Dinah. It's amazing how, even without thinking, I find that the Holy Spirit leads me straight to the relevant point of anything that He needs me to focus on. So I have just been led to the part where Siya speaks of the Xhosa male initiation ritual, going into the bush to make a transition from boy to man. So the transition into manhood. And so here is what he writes. There's an old rugby saying, what goes on tour stays on tour. The same thing applies to initiation. It is a sacred thing done with the guys, and we pledge never to share what happened with those who weren't there. You build up to the ceremonial circumcision and the period of recovery that follows it. Circumcision is the tool or instrument that Dinah's brothers use in order to avenge the violation of their sister. In Genesis 34, the book on biblical math and the code of the Torah, the book of instruction called Taelo in Sesotho or Umthetho in Zulu, explains that Dinah strays from the place of total power and strength to seek out the abode of strangers. In the territory of the strangers, Hamor's son Shechem rapes her. This was a horrible day for Jacob because a virgin daughter of Israel is most cruelly violated in the territory of the enemy. Lloyd Foster, the author of that book on biblical math, continues to state that the tragedy gets even worse. Shechem claims that he loves Dinah and proposes marriage. And so he writes, this despicable miscreant who abused Dinah comes with sweet words of endearment and presents his case for a marital contract. Have you ever seen a more brazen insult being added to injury? Under the guise, mockery actually, of a legitimate and sacrosanct institution of marriage, the daughter of Israel is taken captive. Fortunately, this dismal picture is not going to be permanent. There is a way back home. It gets worse before it gets better. But better is definitely on its way. Deliverance comes at last. The monster is slain. The daughter of Israel is released and returned to her home. For me, it has been 30 years of captivity. The instrument of deliverance is, the instrument of deliverance in Dinah's story was circumcision. That is the means of redemption. Circumcision, the ceremonial rite associated with the number 8, biblically is administered on the 8th day. The 8th day of assembly after the Feast of Booths occurred on the 22nd of Tishri, the 7th month, and thus on code 722. Same was the 24th of October 2024. And I might add, the 24th of October was the anniversary date of the birth of Piwe's father, Professor Spamla. Oct means 8, but soon we'll be in the 8th month of Sheshvan on the Hebrew calendar. Let me leave this here for now. Thank you for listening.